So yours began about 2 years ago, it's 2016, and you were on a train?
I was on the tube train, 3 nights on the trot, same guy in the same tube train at the same time every day.
Yeah.
And it was on the 3rd day that I spotted it and thought, that's strange. Because in London, you don't typically see the same person every day on your travels. And then I wondered about it rather than concluded it was stalking at that point. Then the following day, the 4th day, on a different train going in a complete different direction, different destination, there he was again, same carriage as me. So then I made a mental note to keep an eye out for him. And the following Tuesday, he was outside my office and I went a bit Miss Marple and acted as though I hadn't seen him, walked past, and then about 20, 30 feet up the road, I stopped and pretended to take a call so I could swivel around. And there he was, right behind me. And
Did you feel threatened?
I felt a bit sick in my stomach. You know, you just kind of think, oh God, I was hoping this wasn't what this is, but I think this is what it is.
You did go to the police, more just to kind of find out advice, really, than anything else.
Yeah, again, I was for quite a long time, for easily 6 months. I was quite more than that actually. I was just I was approaching it as a kind of irritation. And that's something I want to get across today, that actually I think the whole nation thinks stalking is just a bit of a nuisance. And the more I experience it, the more I realise it's actually really, really sinister. Even if somebody isn't being physically violent or leaving threatening messages or anything like that, which the man in my situation hasn't, if you think about it, you get to say who's in your life. And when you make it clear to a person you don't want them anywhere near you, for them to just say, well, actually, my need matters more, I'm going to keep appearing, that's sinister.
What was the reaction from the police? Because you were actually quite pleased, weren't you?
It was immediate, yeah. I was surprised how seriously they took it, because at that point I wasn't taking it very seriously. I was treating it as just a bit of a nuisance. And they were around at my house the next day taking a statement. That pattern was repeated every time I called them. And in discussions with them about the nature of this individual, I mean, I can't say very much about him specifically, but because of certain aspects of him, I decided to... with the police, they told me what I could, and at that point I could have had him arrested there and then under harassment laws, not necessarily stalking laws at that point, but harassment laws. And I just decided to take a kind of gentle approach to it and see if, well, because of aspects of his mental health.
Do you think it would have made any difference had you had him arrested at that moment?
It would have meant that the same process that I'm now going through would have happened sooner, basically, and maybe I'd know at this point if that worked, because my sort of question now is, as I use the law, and I'm using the law, and it's doing its thing to try and protect me, sometimes too slowly for my liking, but I'm letting them do their job. My big question is, well, what happens if it doesn't work? What am I supposed to do then if the law says, sorry, we can't protect you? And as Emily Maitlis found, he was in prison and the law couldn't protect her.
You did challenge him face to face. This was in 2016.
Yeah.
And what was his reaction to that? Did it help?
Well, no, I was a bit naive, really, to think it would. He appeared I had changed the venue of a meeting at short notice, and he appeared at this place. So that, again, I thought that felt aggressive to me. I just thought, oh, my God, you're here again. So I stood up, grabbed a British Transport Police officer, because it was in a railway station, and took him over to this guy, and I challenged him, and I said, now look, I've been gentle with you. You are frightening me. Do you understand you're frightening me? And he covered his face and kept saying sorry. And I just gave the police officer some details that he needed in order to tackle him, and then I went away, because I was really... And I was shaken by that.
Yeah, I bet.
But I was also a bit naive. I thought, this will work, and it didn't.
In July, I think it was, in 2017, you went into evidence-gathering mode, didn't you?
I did, because he appeared after a hiatus of me not seeing him, but I now know that he was still going to where I live pretty much every day, because the police have checked his travel records. After a hiatus of not seeing him, there he was, outside the office again. So I filmed him. I got my colleague, my producer, to film him when I stood up to walk away to see what he did, and he followed me. And you do find yourself in... Well, I have found myself in some bizarre situation, like hiding behind a big Aussie guy, so I could let this chap go past and go wherever he wanted to go, so I could go in the other direction. And at that point, I thought, right, this is ridiculous. I'm going to just put the full force of the law on this guy, because this is stupid.
And the final straw was when you saw him near your home, and that was the first time for you that you felt really vulnerable. That's when you felt it.
Yes, it is. It is when I split in a sense, split into two versions of Sheila. One, the journalist who's going, hang on, what are the laws on stalking? Why aren't they working? And the other person, which is just me, who was really upset, actually. he's on CCTV at the place that he appeared near my home, and I said very loudly, I won't use the language I use, but I said very loudly, "You have got to be kidding me! Like, you're here, you know." So he's creeping nearer to my home, basically, and I rang the police when I went home, and that was the first time I cried about it, and I cried to the police guy, and they calmed me down, and I said, "Look, if the law does not work, if you can't protect me, I'll have to protect me." And I started to think, this is the thing that upsets me really, is that I started to feel violent feelings towards someone, and I'm not a violent person, and I just thought, I literally
But
could
it's that psychological effect, isn't it?
to this guy, if I, you know, so the law has to work so that people don't have to do that, and husbands don't have to do that, and partners don't have to do that. And it isn't just about my situation that I'm speaking out, actually. I am genuinely, as a journalist, I'm genuinely curious as to why this particular crime is the crime that can keep happening every day.
Yeah.
And we're all meant to be relaxed about it. If I said to you, Holly, is that guy still burgling your house every night? Yeah, he is. Police know who he is. Yeah, they know where he lives. They know where he keeps the stuff. Yeah. That would not happen.
No.
They would get your stuff back. They would arrest him. They would put him in prison. For stalking, until you actually press charges and get a successful prosecution and get somebody either to observe a limit, you know, a legal restriction on coming near you, or put them in prison, then it just keeps going on and on and on.